The Guerrilla House Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Hope you all are well. This is Jerry Howard from Guerrilla House Productions. Hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving. I know I did. I just chilled. I had 4 days off in a row. I watched movies. I pet my cat. I read my book. I ate all the food. I hope you got some food because I thought I ate all of it. It's really awesome. Hanging out with family and friends, even like just catching up with people on the phone. Just having time just to, spend an hour just talking on the phone. It was good to connect with people. I really like Thanksgiving. I'm a fan. And it's just to slow it down a little bit. Just wonderful time. I am having a good time at school. It's going great so far. We're heading into winter break, so full throttle, getting close to the end of the first semester. I like my students. They're doing a good job. They're good. I like them. I'm always fortunate to have good kids in my class. I must have done something right, but I am a lucky dude. I am sorry to say to all of you that it is just me on this podcast today. I know, Victor is the man, and that last podcast about the Lords of Salem was awesome. I liked listening to it again, and I got some good feedback, and don't worry, Victor will be back. We'll be doing more metal movies, talking about beer. Victor likes his beer, and I do too, and I'm actually enjoying a Old Rasputin right now. A little, it's that time of the year, so let me take a little drink of this. But I am not here to talk about beer. If I was here to talk about beer, this podcast would be nearing its conclusion right now because, I just know how to drink it, and that's about it. I'm around my friends. I just sit there and go, what the hell's going on, man? But they all love their beer, and they know a lot about it. At any rate, I'm here to talk about Noirvember 2025. I am super stoked on Noirvember 2025. I watched 12 films. I watched a lot of different movies, but I got 12 noir and neo-noir in. I watched a lot of out of my collection, and I'm just going to talk about each film and go in to some depth about one that really knocked me out. The others, I'm just going to go over for a second, talk about the movie like we're chilling at the pub. All right. So it was a good year. I really enjoyed it for Noirvember. And I kicked it off with a laser disc I bought just for Noirvember, and a film that's been on my watch list for, I would say, several years. And I don't know why, because I always really wanted to see it. But for some reason, that may be the people who I was with didn't want to watch it. That's no excuse. I can watch a lot of movies by myself, but sometimes you forget. At any rate, to make sure I watch this movie, I bought a laser disc of it. Really nice laser disc. And the film I'm talking about is from 1971, and it's titled Klute. Klute is directed by the stellar Alan J. Pakula, and it stars Jane Fonda and Donald Sutherland. It's an outstanding movie. I was really stoked. I came out banging with Noir Fest with this neo-noir. I was mesmerized the whole time. Now, it's about Donald Sutherland playing a private detective. You get a little background on him, and he's been thrust in the PI world, and which moves this plot. And he's searching for an individual who has just gone missing, somebody in his life. So he embarks as a PI, maybe to get around some of the laws or whatnot, but he goes out and finds Jane Fonda, who plays a prostitute and is one of the only people he can connect the disappearance to. And everything starts to unfold from there. And it will hold you for its entirety. It is a stellar film. I need to watch it again. I was kind of like the whole time like, holy fuck, this movie. I love this movie so much that, maybe I missed a little bit, of like the more in-depth sort of themes going on. But I was just engrossed. Donald Sutherland is a badass mofo, man. I like most of the movies he's in. And if the movie's not good, I like him. I also Jane Fonda, fucking great. And she's a very sexy lady. And she was just nailing it in this film. She won an Academy Award for Best Actress for this film. It was also nominated for another Oscar for screenplay, but it did not win. But I need to mention who else is in this film, and that's Roy Schneider. All right? Is it Schneider or Shader? Roy Shader. You know Roy Shader. I was looking at his filmography. I'm a big fan, but the 70s, this dude owned the 70s quite possibly. Just snagging a few of the titles. We got Clute. Then he follows it up with The French Connection. Then there's a couple good ones in there, like the 7-Ups and whatnot, but then comes Jaws. I mean, come on. And then The Marathon Man, which is a movie I like. And then Sorcerer. That's like a lot of his 70s work. You throw in All That Jazz. It's considered a classic. So Roy Shader is just killing it in the 70s. And he's badass in Clute. Gotta check it out. Roy Shader. And Alan J. Pakula. I'm a fan of him. I'm becoming a fan. I like All the President's Men. I like Presumed Innocent. And I also like The Parallax View. All those movies I need to revisit. All right, the second film I watched in my Noir Fest was Detour from 1945 from director Edgar G. Ulmer. Now, I've seen Detour before, and it's fun on these Noir Fests to go revisit some of the classics. This was only my second viewing, so it felt fresh. But Detour is an excellent spot to jump in if you don't know where to go starting out diving into noir. Detour is a classic. It's the classic movie, everything goes shitty. It's about a piano player, his lady leaves him and goes out to LA, so he's going to travel across the country and meet up with her. And this dude turns into motherfucker Clark Griswold. Everything's going wrong for the guy. He's just not knowing what to do. He's getting in all kinds of trouble, and it's a fun movie. Totally classic. My Criterion, I got a Criterion Blu-ray, like I said, and it is solid. It looks great. Nice essay inside. I can't wait to check out some of the supplements. I have not had an opportunity to do that yet. The third movie I watched is called Crossfire. And I'm going to save this one till the end because this was the one that knocked my socks off. This is the one I want to discuss. It's going to take a little longer. All right. So the fourth one was another Criterion, why do I keep saying Laserdisc? Criterion Blu-ray I got in the summer. I bought it with Detour. Another one I had seen before, They Live by Night from 1948 by the classic director Nicholas Ray. Nicholas Ray, well known for several movies. Rebel Without a Cause comes to mind. But this is one of the classics, very influential movie. And I thought it was interesting when I was reading up on it. I found out it was criticized for having a left-wing narrative. It's always funny how if I wanted to jump more into depth about this, we could do a whole podcast on it, but we're not going to right now. This movie had to inspire films like Bonnie and Clyde, Badlands, True Romance. It's just, The Lovers on the Run. Excellent film. I mean, it's a subgenre now. But that was a good one to revisit. They Live by Night. Solid. Another good place to dive into if you want to start testing the waters of noir. This next one's a neo-noir from 2025, but Ballad of a Small Player by Edward Berger. All right? Or is that Edward Berger? I don't know. Edward Berger, I believe it is. But Ballad of a Small Player is with one of my favorite actors right now is Colin Farrell. Everything he does, I love. In Bruges, Seven Psychopaths, The Penguin, The Batman, whatever. I'm really loving Colin Farrell. And this movie, I'm reading Letterboxd reviews of it and ratings, and it has an average of 2.7, and I couldn't disagree more. It's a strange film. It's very cerebral. It's definitely swinging for the fences, but it was really capturing my imagination with the samsara, the Buddhism, 6 realms of existence. I'm not an expert on Buddhism. I know some things about it, but it seemed like Colin Farrell's character was going through each realm, and it was very surreal and just out of left field. Maybe turned some people off who, want to see more of a gambling movie. Yeah, that fair point, but it wasn't. The movie is what it is, and you should try to connect to it if you're spending the time watching it. And I just found myself just thinking like crazy. It spurred a lot of conversation between my wife and I. We even paused it and had a discussion. I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite movies of 2025. I think the 2.7 rating is just bullshit. Now, I don't get Netflix, really. There's no need for it with how I consume movies. But every once in a while, so I can keep up with these new films like Ballad of a Small Player, it's really fun to have it just for a month or two and just binge it, watch all the new ones. I watch Frankenstein too. But I recommend it. It was really good. The 6th entry to Guerrilla House, Noirvember 2025, was George Slizer's classic 1988 film, The Vanishing. Now, if you've seen The Vanishing, this isn't a movie you forget. It sticks to you, and you find yourself thinking about it at weird times. Like, fuck, man. What? But that's kind of my thoughts on this film. I really enjoyed it. I definitely will revisit it and show people it who come into the Guerrilla House, because I was thinking about it for a long time. It also reminded me of a part of a Quentin Tarantino film that I'm not going to say because I think it would spoil it. But at any rate, The Vanishing. There was an American remake that Slizer directed as well with Jeff Bridges. Pretty good, but the OG, go with it. I got a Criterion score over the summer again, and it is excellent. Enjoying it. I finally, with the 7th film, knocked off a glaring blind spot from 1949, DOA, directed by Rudolph Maté. I mean, I've heard about this movie. I saw the remake with Dennis Quaid when I was younger. I have always wanted to watch it. It's been on my list forever. People always talk about it. It's on every noir list. It's a classic. It was a glaring blind spot, like I said. I enjoyed it. I watched it on DVD. I have a classic noir edition of just tons of classic noir with like Humphrey Bogart and everything. So I knocked off DOA. I try to watch a movie out of it every year. The 8th movie was a laser disc I got in a bundle, and it was just included. So I remember seeing this film in the movie theater when I was young, but I couldn't remember it. And it's called Night in the City from 1992. It's a remake of the classic Night in the City by Jules Dassin. Is easily one of the best noir movies. I'm a big fan of Dassin, and he kills it. Now, if you haven't seen the original, you need to just watch that. Trust me. The original to this movie is night and day. This movie's not bad. It's more of a curiosity for people who have seen the original. But if you base Night in the City from 1992 on the 1950 version, you're sadly just missing the boat, because Night in the City is exceptional. Just a brief note, Night in the City was directed by Irwin Winkler, who was more of a producer. Goodfellas, Rocky. I believe he did Raging Bull as well, but just a prominent movie producer. And that leads me to the 9th movie, and my wife and I put in Goodfellas. I watch Goodfellas maybe once a year. It's a movie you throw on, it feels like it takes 30 minutes. It's a clinic. What is there to say about Goodfellas that it already hasn't been said? If you haven't seen Goodfellas, that's the next movie you need to watch. I guarantee you're going to like it. I just don't know what to say. There's nothing else. There's a million books. There's a million articles. There's a million podcasts about Goodfellas. It's all-timer. It could be the best movie ever made. It's in the debate. It's definitely in the fucking debate. Speaking of great films, the 10th one's from 1995. La Haine from France. Mathieu Kassovitz was the director. I like La Haine. I had not seen it since it came out. I have read a lot about it. I scored a Criterion edition of the film, and so I'm watching all my Blu-rays, and it was absolutely incredible. It held up. It's timeless. It's just an outstanding movie. Another one that will stick with you. Classic. The last film of Noir Fest this year, Noirvember, was a blind spot from me. So once again, I bought it on Laserdisc to force myself to watch it. I like watching physical media. Streaming's great, but I'll put it on a list. It'll be there forever. At least I got this physical pile of discs over here that I have to watch. And I watched A Blind Spot from 1947, The Lady from Shanghai, directed by Orson Welles, starring Orson Welles and Rita Hayworth. This one, I'm happy I watched it. You know, it's a classic. I liked it. It has parts that, like, I see the influence. Looking at You, Enter the Dragon. But out of the Noir Fest, it was probably on my bottom. It might have been my least favorite of the Noir Fest, or my Noirvember. But having said that, I still like the movie, and I'm glad I checked that box. And now, back to the third film I watched, the one that knocked my socks off. My favorite film of Noirvember 2025, and that's Crossfire from 1947, directed by Edward Dmytryk. It stars Robert Mitchum, who's the noir man, apparently. The Night of the Hunter, Cape Fear, Out of the Past, and this one, oh my God. He's got the belt. Has Robert Ryan, classic actor, Gloria Graham. It was nominated for 5 Academy Awards: Best Picture, Best Actor in the Supporting Role, Robert Ryan, Best Actress in a Supporting Role, Gloria Graham, Best Director, Edward Dmytryk, and the Best Screenplay, John Paxton. Now, they didn't win, but it was a very successful film. it had a lot of social consciousness. It had a lot to say about prejudice and, the lengths people will go through when they have so much hate in their heart. Mind-blowing movie, turns into a murder mystery, but it has a lot going on. It's highly recommend. Set my brain on fire. So much that after the movie, I kept thinking about it, and I started to do a deep dive in on this one. But before I did that, I was wondering how come it took me so long to watch this movie. This movie had been on my stack, my dreaded stack. I've talked about this in previous podcasts. Why do movies stay on your stack so long? Remember, I did New York. New York was one of the movies I talked about. Why? Most of them are generally pretty good. It's generally length or something. Well, this one I got in a bundle of laser discs. And when I got it, it has the worst fucking cover I've ever seen in my life. It's just a snapshot of a couple. That's it. It gives no insight. It does not capture the imagination. It does not pull you in. So there it sat on my stack. I would just go look at it. And then I was getting ready for Noirvember. And that was on a recommendation. And I was like, I own that movie. I better watch that because the dreaded stack, as I've mentioned earlier, drives me crazy. I got to watch every movie I purchase. Or any movie that's given to me. If it comes into this house, I'm going to watch it. Eventually. At any rate, I threw it on and I loved it. It was absolutely unbelievable. Now, going back, I started going into just digging about this movie, and I found out it was based on a novel by an author named Richard Brooks called The Brick Foxhole. And it's about anti-gay prejudice in the Marines. That's how they describe it, right? So the book rights got sold. The novel was successful, but when they wanted to make it into a film, there was the Hays Code. Now, Hays Code, just to give you a quick rundown, went from 1930 to 1968, and it was just basically a code of conduct for films about what you can show sexually, drugs, what you can depict, what you can show. Well, you couldn't mention homosexuality. You couldn't really represent gay people properly. And when they did, it generally wasn't in a good way. Or it was under the surface. They had to make it sneak by the censors. So they had to change the prejudice to anti-Semitism. So that just... why isn't this movie being remade now? This is a perfect movie to remake because we'd have this one and then they could actually do one closer to the novel. I want to see that movie. It has to be good. If the novel's going to be better than the movie, it's going to be mind-blowing. Now, I started digging some more, and Dmytryk, the director, became under fire because he was once a member of the Communist Party. This is right around the time the witch hunts are starting, and the House of Un-American Activities Committee got him to come to testify, and he was one of the Hollywood 10, if you've heard of them. And he refused to answer, so he was going to go to jail, so he fled to the UK, where he made a few movies, and then he came back to the US, and he was imprisoned. And after 4.5 months, he gave up some names. But he gave up names to what he claimed people who were already named. And so it wouldn't be damaged. And he stuck by that forever. And I need to do a little more research on it. But from the gist I was getting, it was kind of the end of him after that. He ended up going to University of Texas and becoming a film professor and, wrote some books. And yeah, so interesting. Crossfire. It took me down that rabbit hole. It was fucking awesome. I highly recommend this book, this movie. And that is the conclusion to Noirvember 2025. Let me take a drink of my beer to celebrate. Now, one of the things I love about Noirvember is history. You get to learn a lot about it. The way movies were filmed, the censorship. There's a lot to connect to. There's a lot to learn. I love history as much as I love cinema, and they're combined together, and it totally turns my brain on fire. And I highly recommend deep diving into noir. I'll be back buying films all year long for next Noirvember. That's it. We finished Guerrilla House episode 6 on Noirvember 2025. I hope you all enjoyed it. Next time, I think I'm having a guest. I have a couple episodes lined up in December, so there shouldn't be big wait as opposed to the last time. Thank you all for listening to my podcast. I'm still shocked that people listen to it. I appreciate it. Is humbling. If you ever want to talk movies, just send me a direct message. I'll give you updates on our film. It's coming along great. Nothing really to talk about right now. But yeah, that's it. Happy holidays. I'll be talking to you soon about some December picks. But until then, you all have a nice week. I will talk to you soon.